keep your sense of right and wrong if you're a hungry person, somebody who's just got an irrepressible drive, to accomplish and to succeed. Today, I'm going to reveal to you the three types of motivation. And these are three kinds of emotions that can propel you to take a certain action, make a certain decision, so that you achieve a certain result that you're looking for in your life. And one of the reasons that it's important to know this is because each type of motivation has certain pitfalls or certain things that you need to be aware of, be on the lookout for, to make sure that you don't hurt yourself in the process of being so motivated to get that result. So, depending on who you are, you're going to be motivated by different things, different emotions. We're just going to talk about those three things. And I'm going to start by just telling you that I am Mark Johnson. I am also the founder of Bounce Pep, and we are bringing you ideas for a fit and flourishing future. I am also the youngest son of Bill Johnson. And just let me thank my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and do it now, because I'm going to add some value to your life. Now, why do you need to know this in the first place? Why is it important to understand the three types of motivation? Well, again, it's because basically these are base emotions that drive you to make certain decisions or take certain actions. And I'm talking to people who are already motivated to do something. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of motivation, I'm not sure how much this talk is going to help you. This is really for people who are motivated. I'm trying to help you understand a little bit more about what's motivating you, and then again, what are some of the pitfalls that come with that particular type of motivation that you may have or that may be driving you. So let's just start with what you can find directly in the Bounce Pep dictionary. If you go to www.bouncepep.com, you will see something called the Bounce Pep Dictionary. It's quite literally a dictionary. And in the dictionary, I actually have the three types of motivation. Now, let me reveal what they are. The first one is this: anticipation. A lot of you out there have a certain goal, a certain dream, or certain vision, and you're anticipating the manifestation, you're anticipating the result. Now, let me give you the actual definition as we define it here at Bounce Pep. So I'm just going to do some reading here. So if you see my eyes reading, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading the definition to you. But anticipation is your belief that you are going to have a great experience and a favorable outcome. It is having something to look forward to. Anytime you feel anticipation, it puts pep in your step and makes it easy for you to act. It is the most enjoyable form of motivation. So, most enjoyable makes sense, right? Because you are expecting to experience a good result, a favorable outcome. And so, anticipation is full of positive energy and positive vibes. Now, if you are primarily motivated by a sense of anticipation, whatever you're working on, I don't care what it is, it can be anything that you're working on in your life. If you're motivated by a sense of anticipation, that's fine, and the positive energy is great. But there are some things that you need to be aware of in terms of pitfalls. Number one, prepare well. See, sometimes what happens is when we just expect everything to work out well, we forget that we have to prepare well. Okay. And we let our guard down. So don't let your guard down. Make sure that you prepare well. Don't gloss over pitfalls. Okay. No matter how perfect the future may seem like it's going to be to you, there are always some potential pitfalls. And you do need to spend some time just keeping your head on, screw your head on straight, okay? And think about what some of the potential pitfalls are, okay? And again, just be prepared. If something doesn't go quite as well as you thought it was going to be, as you were anticipating, then you don't want to just be totally caught off guard. You don't want to be totally flustered. You don't want to just totally lose your head over it, okay? And being well prepared helps you to kind of how do you say, roll with the punches when they come, because you will get some punches. Okay, if you are really ambitious and you're really working on something, you're going to get punched sometimes. Okay, and the result that you're anticipating won't always be as rosy as you would like it to be all the time. Okay, so be prepared. Understand that there will be pitfalls. Do not gloss over them. Think about what the potential pitfalls are. Just keep them in mind so that when they come, you're not so surprised, so caught off guard. Now, here is the number two type of motivation. This is fear. Okay. Now, obviously, fear has a negative connotation, and with good reason, but I would just like to say that fear can be a highly effective motivator. And just to give you a reason why, let's just go into the actual definition again as defined in the Bounce Pep Dictionary. So, fear, a sense of dread about negative consequences that may result if you do not make a decision or take some course of action. Fear can lead you to act out of the belief that you have no other choice, which is not necessarily bad, but it may also make you susceptible to accepting unfavorable conditions and potential risks out of desperation. Okay, so I think I gave you some of the pitfalls already in the definition. Fear, again, fear can be a very, very powerful motivator. And sometimes you need some fear in order to act. And this is true for a lot of people. Some people are really, can't really act or make a decision unless they're fearful about something. You find this a lot of times with health issues that people have. A lot of times, fear of the health consequences for not taking a certain action will actually get people to, make some hard decisions about their health and improving their diet and their fitness and everything that they would not necessarily have made if they were not fearful of the consequences. But with that said, with fear, one of the pitfalls is that you can make a decision before you think through things. Okay. So, what you need to do if you're someone who is really motivated to act through, out of a sense of fear, you actually need to slow down just a little bit. Okay. And think. And I want you to identify other alternatives, other like courses of action or other decisions that you could make that would mitigate maybe some of the downstream risks that you would kind of invite if you just made a rash decision based out of fear. Okay, so when you're acting out of fear, slow down a little bit before you make your decision. Okay, think through things, make sure that the minuses don't outweigh the pluses of your decision. Okay, because when you're fearful, a lot of times you're just trying to solve a problem at that moment or get out of some kind of a bind, at that instant, and you don't think through the downstream negative impacts that you may experience. So slow down a bit. Okay, if you're somebody who is acting out of fear, slow down a bit, keep your head on straight, think through possible alternatives, think through uh, what would be some of the maybe longer term downside risks of making this decision before you make it, just to make sure that you don't do something that you regret. Okay, now let's go into the third type of motivation, and this one is my personal favorite. It is something that I can't take credit for. I can't take credit for the idea. Now, this actually came from Les Brown, and some of you have, I'm sure, heard of Les Brown. He's a legendary motivational speaker. If you haven't heard of him, go and listen to Les Brown. You can go to YouTube or wherever. Les Brown is on there. I'm telling you, go and listen to the man. But Les Brown is the first person that I really heard talk about this idea of hunger. Okay, so the third type of motivation is hunger. And Les Brown, he tells a lot of stories and he gives a lot of anecdotes. And it's very clear what he means when he talks about hunger, but he never actually just gives you like a definition of hunger. And so that's what I'm going to do here is give you a definition of hunger as it is defined at Bounce Pep. Okay, so again, let's go to the Bounce Pep dictionary. Here's the definition: hunger, an irrepressible drive to accomplish your goal or manifest your dream. It is the most potent form of motivation because it drives you to persist despite doubts, failures, rejections, setbacks, or seemingly insurmountable odds. It is the inner force that compels you to prepare for opportunities before they reveal themselves. Hunger produces urgency and faith. Okay, so I think you can understand why this would be my favorite form of motivation because there's not a lot of downsides to being hungry. Generally speaking, being hungry can only help you. Now, with that said, the big pitfall about being hungry, if you're a hungry person, the big pitfall is this: you got to watch out for this. Watch yourself, okay? Because, and when I say watch yourself, what I mean is make sure that you are not too desperate and that you don't come off as too desperate because people out there are some people out there who are looking to manipulate people who are obviously desperate. And when you're someone who is hungry, you're driven by hunger, just that irrepressible urge to just make something happen. You can come off as desperate if you're not careful. And manipulators will pick up on this and they'll see you as a potential victim. Okay, so if you're somebody who's hungry, make sure that you watch out for manipulators. Make sure that you keep your sense of right and wrong. This is very important. Sometimes, if you're a really hungry person, you may be tempted to take some shortcuts on your ethics. And I think it's important to just make sure that you stay grounded in your sense of right and wrong. Now, I understand that there is no universal sense of right and wrong. It differs a little bit from person to person, but my general point, I think you understand. Don't let your hunger blind you to what's wrong. Okay, if you know that something is wrong, then tell yourself, hey, I don't know if I want to go that far. I don't know if I'm willing to do that much. Okay. And I'm not going to let this person over here convince me to do it either. Okay. So keep your sense of right and wrong if you're a hungry person, somebody who's just got an irrepressible drive, to accomplish and to succeed, because that hunger can also lead you, if you're not on top of your moral compass, to do things that you wouldn't be proud of later on. Sometimes you can, make some compromises on your sense of right and wrong, and you may get what you want, but you don't feel good about it later on. Okay. And so that is the pitfall of hunger. So, with that said, I want you to think about these three types of motivation. Okay. Again, they're base emotions that drive you to make a decision or drive you to take a certain course of action. And each one of them, while they have their advantages, they also have their pitfalls. That's what this has been about. I want you guys to stay smart. I want you to always be learning, always be just thinking about this stuff. These are just little simple tidbits, simple pointers to get you to think about some things maybe you haven't really thought through them, thought about them. And with that said, stay motivated, okay? Keep your motivation up. I want you also to check out maybe some older talks that I've done about commitment, because commitment is kind of like it's something different than motivation. I would say it's more important than motivation. And if you never really understood the difference between motivation and commitment, it's something that you need to understand. So I'll put a link to a previous video that I made about that, and I think it's just worth taking a listen. I'll leave you with this. Have a great day. Talk to you next time.